Hi. What I'm going to talk about today is prayer. And I'm talking about prayer from the point of view of anybody, whether you are religious or not. And what I mean by prayer is our communion and communication with the divine presence in order to support us in living this life here on earth as we do. So how do we connect with that in a way that brings greater energy and divine presence to manifesting what it is that we want in life? Now, in religious traditions, people practice prayer as a part of their practice. And maybe that seems like it leaves everybody else out in the cold. But I'd like to share what I've learned about prayer, and this is indiscriminate of whether you have any kind of religion or spiritual tradition that you lean upon. So it's relevant for everybody who does have religion, and it's relevant for those who don't. 5 things I've learned about prayer. Well, the first thing I've learned is that it's powerful and it certainly has influence. For me, prayer is about focusing my attention, combining with my resort to universal consciousness, to God consciousness, and participating in the creation process, the manifestation process, the blessing process. I think prayer is a very powerful tool that we've been gifted in life. Another thing I've learned about prayer is that it's very important to be specific about what it is that you're asking for, or that you're praying for, or about, and whether that's for yourself or somebody else. So the more specific it is, the more sort of laser-like the prayer can be answered. The more laser-like effect the prayer can have. So say you're praying for somebody's health. The more you can know without being intrusive about the condition that they have, the more you can bring that energy and attention and that prayerfulness to that very particular healing place. If it's a job that you want, it's really good if you use words that are specific in relation to that. So I'm going to give you some steps that I've learned, and I don't claim to have invented them. I have learned them from those who have greater wisdom than I do. But I've practiced with this, and I've witnessed an incredible effectiveness around using prayer in this manner. So the first thing is to have absolute clarity about what it is that you're asking for, that you want. And once you know what it is that you are wanting to pray for, what you do is, it is very good to find quietness. Obviously you can pray in any environment. You can pray in a crowded street, in the car as you're driving, any time whatsoever. And the more that you practice it, the easier it is to do that in those other moments. But I suggest you find a quiet spot and just sit nice and tall and straight so that your body is conducting energy more readily. And feel your relationship to the divine, whatever it is that means to you. So if you're a Christian, feel your relationship to Jesus and God. If you're a Muslim, feel your relationship to Allah. If you're a Hindu, whatever your gods are. If you're an African, whatever your gods are. If you're not associated with religion, then feel into the sky, into the trees, the feeling of expansiveness that you have when you watch a sunset. Feel the energy from the grass. Feel the warm feeling that you can get when your heart opens. So just connect with divine energy, whatever it is that means to you. And when you're in that state, and you've invoked that feeling into your whole body and that sense of connection, then you state your prayer. Universe, God, Jesus, Allah, Buddha, whoever, I pray and I visualize, and you visualize the outcome that you want, and you affirm it. So you visualize and you affirm what it is that you're asking for. And you say you want a deal, or you're selling your house. You imagine you're shaking hands and you're receiving the check or the money. You're seeing the money in your bank account. So I pray, I visualize, and I affirm that my children are safe, that they're contained, and that they're going to go on their summer camp, and they'll feel held and filled with joy, and their hearts will be open. That Mary Jane feels the divine energy healing her leg as she recovers from her injury, whatever it is. So you invoke and speak into and visualize whatever the outcome is that you're hoping for, that you're praying for. Then once you've done that, you just sit with that for a while, and you just breathe deeply, breathe in and breathe out, and release any doubt or fear. So you breathe in the visualization of the fulfillment of your prayer, and you breathe out to release any fear, doubt, negativity that you have. And you just sit for a couple of minutes and do that breathing exercise. So you're breathing in the fulfillment of the prayer, and you're breathing out doubt and fear. And then what you do is you let go and let God. Just allow the universe, God, the divine, to take action, to manifest in whatever way. My personal belief is that prayer is very powerful and we get to participate in it, but we do not know the mysteries of the universe. There's such a thing as divine timing. There's such a thing as karma at play. So sometimes things that we want are just not in our stars, but all power to us in our conscious communion and co-creation with the divine. Because there's an awful lot that we can influence. So it's about us choosing to be part of that influence in the areas that we can. And then you just let it go, and you feel a kind of joyous release, and you hand it over to the divine to just handle that, please. The next thing I've learned, so that is the basic methodology of prayer that I have learned and find very, very powerful. You can accessorize with candles, you can light a candle, you can accessorize with incense. Another very powerful thing to do is pray with others. There's something extremely powerful about including other people in your prayers, but they've got to be people who are absolutely 100% behind you and your prayer. Because you don't want to bring negative or blocking influences around that very tender, vulnerable creation space. Another thing that I've learned about prayer is sometimes when something just isn't happening and you're totally frustrated, it works, and this is my own experience, to just shout about it. So you just shout to the divine, you shout the visualization, you shout the creation out. There's something about that I have found effective, and I've seen other people do it as well. So there's always that as an option, just that call to the universe. I find somehow when we hit the wall and then we just almost almost demand something that is so powerfully strong in our heart, then there can be a very rapid and powerful response. And one last thing that I'd like to add, and that is it's better to pray for things that are somehow, obviously you can pray for somebody's healing, but you might not choose to pray in a way that is about influencing somebody else's mind. People are free beings. So it might be, you might not pray that, Lord, I pray and affirm and I visualize John putting a ring on my finger. You might do that if John is already your partner. But if John is some random guy that you've just, got a crush on and you'd really love John to put a ring on your finger, what is a great thing to do is to kind of add at the end, or whatever is best for everybody concerned. Or it might be, I see, true love in my life, and I become an opening, and I release all resistance to anything that might be between me and John, if John is that ideal person. I hope that's been helpful. I'm really open to your questions, and I'll respond to them. I'll be doing these 5 days a week, so you can check in any time and just see what other morsels there are. Lots of love. Bye. See you soon.